Welcome. We are back. Another week in the market. I was just checking the mic settings. What's up, Big Nate, Mr. Robinson, Josh, Zeke, Plebere, Steven, Frank, Steven saying vibes in the chat. All cryptos is in a very low risk area. Steven thinks we're going to take a look at Bitcoin in a second here. Then we're going to be talking about the overall market. My thoughts on the market going into the week. We'll be talking about some individual names. And yeah, pretty simple stream, maybe a quick stream tonight, just getting ready for the week pretty much. Nothing too crazy. Yesterday was an insane week. This is how the sheet looked. Oh, that's the earnings. Shout out to Cheddar Freeze, but this is how the sheet looked. We had like an 8-trade win streak on options. None of the swings closed the week red for the first time in a very long time. We actually also had SDC, Smile Direct Club, hitting its first target after hours, or pretty much right before the close on Friday. So that's a 33% profit on this swing, which is for free for everybody in the Discord. So great week last week. We'll see what happens this week. And yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Starting off with Bitcoin, still kind of just going sideways, nothing too crazy. Just consolidating. Not much has changed. Still in between 33k, 45.7k. It is making higher lows, but also lower highs for right now. So not much I can do in terms of updating that. However, Ethereum has been leading lately, and it's broken out of this symmetrical triangle, and it's even back tested the breakout. So it's working on a potential break, hook, and go. All you need to do is break above this high over here, around 30-40, so you can invalidate some potential hidden bearish divergence. And if you do that, you'll be headed up towards 3300 to test that next. So Ethereum's quietly working on a breakout. And yeah, apart from that, we're seeing a little bit of continuation of the bounce on crude oil futures. Hit the PCZ of this bullish bat on the 4-hour, and it's been bouncing since, and it's continuing to go a little bit higher. Next resistance is around 107.54. Moving over to the Hang Seng Index. It's close for right now. Kind of had 2 inside days. So, it's got gaps to fill on both sides. It's already been a crazy few days of rallying for this index after a crazy, very long time of selling off. So we'll see what happens next there. Silver is trying to hold the back test over breakout. That's really it. We've been talking about that for a while now. Gold is trying to back test a previous resistance as a support after this bullish pin bar came up, went up a little bit, and now it's back testing. If this does hold, you definitely could get hidden bullish divergence at some point, but that's not really developing much for right now. The dollar is also trying to backtest. So a lot of backtesting, a lot of confirmation going on across different markets right now. It seems like we had some crazy moves in the last few weeks, and now we're just kind of starting to consolidate a little bit, testing the levels, seeing where you have more support and resistance. And yeah, the dollar is also trying to backtest its breakout. Yeah, so that's it for the most part for some other indices. We're going to take a look at the overall market in a second. What's your thoughts on SPY offering a dividend? I think it's a last-ditch effort to save the market. I don't really focus too much on that. I do see it over here on TradingView. It says the last time was over here and gap down the following day. Let's see, time before that, it also gapped down into a dividend over here, kind of went up a little bit. I'm just focused a little bit more on the charts. That's just kind of my zone. Yeah, speaking of the S&P, going into this week, it's running up to test the 200-day moving average. If you watched the streams towards the end of last week, I did talk about this level being resistance anywhere between like 445 and 454, this little zone over here. And you could even extend this over here. So you're finally approaching some resistance. You did break out towards the end of the week, or honestly earlier in the week, but you are testing resistance now. See what happens. You did close with pretty much a bullish engulfing candle. You gapped up a little bit last week on the weekly, and you just kind of went up all week until it closed right under the 200-day moving average, and you definitely broke out of this kind of bull flag structure on the weekly if you zoom out. So who knows, maybe if we do see some resistance in these areas after running like crazy, we could just back test the breakout. That's one thing I'll be focusing on this week. I'd like to actually see that this week, but who knows if we'll get it. We're already up like 6% on the SPY from last Monday's low. So now you have your 200-day moving average over here. It's completely normal if you see a back test at some point this week and then hopefully just make a high low and continue higher. So you are approaching some resistance. What would surprise me if you just like broke above, like you could easily break above the 200 moving average, but if you broke above it and you just kept on running, that would be surprising. And that, I mean, at that point, 458 is like your next resistance. 453, you have this high over here from September, and then 458 from these two highs. So those are your levels of resistance for the SPY this week. First up, you're going to be kicking off the week with the 200-day moving average area test. And then after that, you're going to have 453 and then 458. Music is a bit loud. I'll put that down. Thanks for letting me know. That should be better. And in terms of support, let's say, you can't break above resistance and you start pulling back for the S&P 500. I'd say support, let's go down to the hourly. It's interesting because really anywhere in this zone I could see support. And then even more so, like even if that's not support, you could always just back test your supply line. You have different supply lines. You have this supply line on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, you have this supply line from the dragon. And then on the daily, you have like that larger wedge supply line. So there's a lot of areas that could be back tested. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep this little zone on the 1 hour. This is the zone that you just broke out of on Friday. So we'll see if it can flip that into support maybe if you do pull back. And on the 1 hour chart, you are kind of just getting towards that upper Bollinger Band. Let's see how it looks on other time frames. You are at your upper Bollinger Band on the 4 hour for the first time since like all the way over here and then kind of over here. So it's been a very long time since you've hit the upper Bollinger Band on the 4 hour. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. You might be a little bit overbought in the very short term. I mean, you just want them very quickly. So that's kind of how the market's looking to me. But overall, this is a longer term breakout. So short term, you could see a pullback. Longer term, I think we could continue higher. But of course, you might want to see a higher low being put in before you just continue ripping up, because then it gets a little bit unhealthy. So that's the SPY analysis. The QQQ also broke out. 342 is the support. That's pretty easy. It's this high over here, these lows over here. If the QQQ back test this week, that's the level you're probably going to want to hold. If it doesn't, then 360 is your next resistance. On lower time frames, you've already kind of had a very nice rally after your wedge breakout. You can even use fibs here. And you're pretty much, you're approaching some horizontal resistance at 352 from this low and this low. And that also lines up with your 382 retrace. So you have multiple levels lining up on the QQQ. The Russell 2000 is testing a breakout. It might have already broken out. So we already talked about how this was getting up towards the top of its range that's been in between 188 and 205, and that pretty much broke out to the upside. But it still could be argued that you're just testing these couple highs over here. But remember, we talked about this partial decline over here, which means you never sold off back to the bottom of the range before going back up to the top, and now you're at the top of the range. So it does give you a nice likelihood of breaking out, which you currently are kind of doing. So that looks good, but again, you already are up a lot. So pullbacks could be completely normal at any point during this week. Hopefully just make higher lows. And the ARK ETF, we talked about how this broke out last week. Beautiful. I mean, off the low on Monday, this thing rallied up 27%. Just kind of went up all week. And at this point, I just like to see us hold above 61 from this high over here and this low. So again, a back test into that level. We'll see what happens. And then the NASDAQ broke above these highs. 14,180 is your next resistance. Support looks a little bit tough here. I'd probably just focus more on QQQ and SPY support. So that's how the market's looking to me. What's up, Medi in the chat? How you doing? Medi says stopping by to say hi and drop a like. Appreciate it. Thank you for the 16 likes, everybody. And that's it. That's the market going into the week. Overall, I think we are due for a little bit of a short-term pullback, but I think that pullback could be healthy, unless, the only way I don't see that pullback being healthy is if there's like bad news to accompany it. But if there's no bad news and it's just like a natural pullback, I do think that the bulls would step in at some point before these lows. Okay. So if there's not any real bad news that comes out, I do think the bulls will step in at some point before you sell off all the way down to over here. If you do pull back, I mean, who knows what happens? We have been on autopilot mode before. So you never know. You know, the market has literally gone straight up before, and that was only a few months ago. So got to keep an open mind. We'll see what happens. Talking about some individual names. Clove was up 9% on Friday. Beautiful day. We talked about how this was testing a breakout on Thursday, I believe. It had that 3 rising valleys, the triple hidden bullish divergence. If you're watching the stream last week, I broke this down literally every single night. I even broke down the back test of this neckline. I mean, it was all just textbook technicals. It was beautiful. And then even on Thursday, I showed you all this cup and handle, if you remember. And yeah, you can see how beautifully that played out. So nice cup and handle playing out over there. Can't be surprised. You know, broke out of a wedge. It had weekly classic bullish divergence, had an inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hour, 1 hour, 3 rising values. Like all the variables were set up, and it's making a nice move. So we'll see if we can keep going this week. You just broke out on Friday above these highs over here. So you literally just broke out again. Keep an eye open for potential back tests, but there's your breakout on Clove. If you are in premium or if you joined the trial that ended today, there were Clove calls alerted on Thursday. I think this was Thursday, and these went up, I think, like 70% or something. Let's take a look. Yeah, these went up 70% the next day. So, and those calls were not even weeklies. Those expire actually this week. So nice stuff there for Clove. Let's see what else. Tesla. I mean, I was breaking this one down like all week. We talked about the breakout. This one broke out and just kept going. We'll see what happens this week. Approaching the upper Bollinger Band on the daily. So if this back test, probably the first level I'd eye is these highs over here around like 890-ish. I'd probably watch that level. I mean, that also even lines up with like this over here. Like this level right over here. So that's probably the level I'd keep an eye on first. 882 to 891. If that doesn't even get back tested, 945 is your next resistance from these highs and this low on Tesla. Roku. We talked about this towards the end of last week. Keanu Trades brought it up on stream for a little bit, and then I liked the chart quite a bit. That had a nice breakout towards the end of the week off of a historical level. 143 is the next resistance here from these lows and this high. What else is there? Moderna. This was one of the best performers off the watch list last week. That's a new watch list. Let me find it right over here. So, yeah, spotted this one at 138 in a wedge at a harmonic PCC. It's currently at 179 just like a week later, and it just broke above this high from the beginning of February. So next resistance this has is around 189 from this high and this high. Really nice move for Moderna. Nvidia broke out last week. This is also approaching some resistance at the 265 to 273 area from these lows and this high. And AMD was testing the breakout on Friday. So pretty much AMD is going to be testing a breakout going into the week. Just like Tesla and Nvidia were able to break out last week and had amazing runs. Keep an eye on AMD this week. See if this could break out. I'd say above like 116 is probably a breakout. Of course, that's going to need some confirmation. And those are just some takers on my watch list. Now we can move on to the swings. We're going to start off with Penn, which was flat on Friday. This is kind of consolidated for about 3 days now. So look to see if this can break above like 45.50-ish. This little 3-day, range it's been in. I mean, even longer if you take out these 2 days. So just kind of a little bit of a range developed between like 43 and 45.50 for a little bit. See what happens there. You've got some potential hidden bullish divergence on Penn. Facebook was up 4%, and this swing is back in profit after nearly getting stopped out. And me talking about how beautiful this chart looked literally on this day. Go back to my stream on March 15th. We talked about the hammer on the daily, the 4-hour tweezer bottom, the 1-hour falling wedge breakout, and then since the breakout, just been a beautiful move for Facebook. Pretty close to a 3 white soldiers candle pattern as well. We have 3 large green bodied candles in a row. So this is approaching a little bit of resistance around 218. Let's see what that dates back to. One high over here from August, and then another one from February, August of 2018 and February of 2020. It's a little bit of resistance there for Facebook, but really, really nice move back to profit for this swing. Fisker back above 1220. Very interesting. Let's go over to the 4-hour. You can see Fisker broke above this blue zone over here. You can see it was support here. support here, resistance over here, and now it's trying to break back above it again. It already broke out of the supply line on the daily. So Fisker broke out towards the end of last week as well. And then finally, Smile, Direct, Club hit the first target pretty much. It was 2 cents off, the same thing. 33% gain in about a week for this swing. So if you're in the Discord, if you follow me on Twitter, you got alerted this swing for free, and boom, 33% in a week. Nicest swing in a while. Let's see if we can keep going. It's testing its first level of resistance. If it breaks this, the next one's around 280-ish. We'll see if it gets there as well. Well, not 280-ish, 360-ish, sorry. It's already at 280-ish. So those are your swings. Good stuff, good stuff. So that's pretty much the quick analysis going into the week, quick breakdown. Towards the end of last week, I did share like some takers that might be new swings going into this week. Also, I'm going to be starting the Champion Vibe Simulator ETF this week for everybody. It's not really going to be focused on day trading or swing trading. It's going to be me trying to create like a longer term account. It's going to be paper money, and of course, don't blindly follow it. It's going to be only like for like I'm trying to only get like long-term results here. I'm not too concerned about how it looks like in 2 weeks or something. I'm focused on how it looks like in a year. So we'll see what happens with that. More announcements for that later. And premium prices go up tomorrow. That link is in the description. You had a week to join the trial, and if you join the trial, it pretty much paid for a decent amount of time in premium. These were the 8 alerts, including losses. There were no losses from the options ideas. So yeah, 8 wins in a row were alerted in this channel and options ideas, and actually 5 of them were puts. So it wasn't just me throwing out calls in an easy market last week. I was actually finding some put trades intraday last week for 5 out of these 8 trades right over here. So that was pretty nice. You could see these stats over here. One of those Moderna contracts could have paid for years. So this price goes up tomorrow, and of course there will be a workshop within the next couple of weeks. So if you sign up, on top of the swings and the options and the weekly watch list, which I just shared today, and the Bullseye bot sharing alerts every day, there's going to be a workshop in a couple of weeks here. So that link is in the description or in the About and Premium channel of the Discord. Make sure you join the Discord. That link is in the description for all these cool channels. Excited for this week. Last week, I'm not going to lie, was a little bit stressful. I was putting a lot of hours into finding trades and giving out analysis and streaming and live trading. It was crazy for sure. So hopefully you enjoyed all of the content and output last week. So that's where we are now. I could bring up a couple of takers that I shared in the premium watch list today. I already showed you all Snapchat last week on stream, but I'm still keeping a close eye on Snapchat. BlackBerry just broke out of a wedge. Keeping an eye on this. What else? Board. I think I also kind of showed this last week. Classic bullish divergence wedge breakout. Let me see one that I didn't really show. Let's go with Neo. I don't think I showed this. It was already up 11%, but this one also has triple classic bullish divergence. Hit the rough PCZ of a scuffed bat, and it's testing a breakout of a wedge. So those are a few of the ones on the watches for this week. We'll see what happens. And yeah, that's the majority of the analysis. Very, very quick and easy to get ready for the week. Hopefully that 20-minute breakdown got you a little bit more prepared for the market this week. So keep in mind, indices are starting to get a little bit overbought on lower time frames, hitting those upper Bollinger Bands on the daily, getting close to that 200-day moving average on the SPY. Those could all be areas to look out for. And I already brought up the supports for the overall market. So that's where we are. Let's see what's in the chat. Josh says, finally joined Discord. Wish I would have months ago. Glad to see you joined it, and glad to see you're enjoying it. For those of you who haven't joined it, the link is in the description. Alfredo says, interesting, Streamlabs and YouTube chat are executed at different times. It might just be a little bit of a delay from my overall video. So yeah, it's probably not more than like 10-15 seconds. So yeah, I don't know, we might just make like a super quick like breakdown video, like literally like a 20-minute video to start the week. That might just be what it is. And we'll just keep it running throughout the rest of the week. So that's where we are, all right? Thank you for watching this quick breakdown and get ready for the market this week. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video if you enjoyed it. And remember, you've got about 24 hours until the price is raised. If you do want to join premium, that's going to be the final price raise for months and months. Okay? Have a good week if you decide to trade, or just have a good week in general. Thank you for watching the stream. Thank you for supporting me. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Peace out.
You know, the present is represented on your watch by a hairline that is as thin as possible, as is consistent with visibility. And so everybody thinks the present is instead of now, the present is the only real time. There is no past, and there isn't a future, and there never will be.